Thank you for staying with us. I'm Oluyemisi Dada. African nations and the U.S. will hold the first conference on the African Growth and Opportunities Act (AGOA) since Congress renewed the zero-tariff deal in June this year. The August 26th to 27th meeting in Gabon will focus on how African nations can better exploit access to the U.S. goods market. The United States Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs says African nations are yet to take full advantage of the opportunities provided by AGOA.
I think African countries have not taken full advantage of the opportunities that AGOA provide, and we are working with those countries through our trade hubs and through consultations with American companies and trade ministers to try to increase the productivity of companies that are exporting to the United States, to increase the quality of the products that they are increasing, working with them to show them how to provide quality products for the United States market. And it's a long-term process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but I think the companies get it, and certainly the AGOA-eligible countries get it.
The World Bank and the Ugandan government have signed a $145 million financing agreement to fast-track crude oil development in the country for a period of 5 years. The fund will be released under Albertine Region Sustainable Development Project. The bank says the fund will finance access to infrastructure, market and skills development and provide bursaries to about 600 students. This will enable them to develop skills that might allow them to find employment in the region. Sectors in focus include agro-processing, construction, tourism and nursing. Uganda has so far discovered 6.5 million barrels of oil in the western part of the country, and it is expected to commence commercial production of oil in 2018. The new chairman of Nigeria's Federal Inland Revenue Service, Babatunde Fowler, has resumed office. Fowler says his focus will be on how the country's tax revenue can significantly increase. Lara Monitor reports.
It is the first day of work for the new chairman of Nigeria's Federal Inland Revenue Service, Babatunde Fowler. Fowler is a veteran where Nigeria's tax administration is concerned, and for him, it's first things first as he dialogues with his new management team on the way forward for Nigeria's tax income.
I have no fear. I do not have the mandate to clear directors or clear management. My mandate is very simple: to move FIRS to the next level, to ensure that this country and indeed our government can provide the required services that all our people require.
Tax evasion remains a big issue in Nigeria, and the new FIRS boss says all loopholes will be blocked. He seeks the cooperation of the Nigerian private sector in achieving this feat. He as well appeals to foreign investors to obey the country's tax laws. Fowler also tells audit firms to desist from sharp practices.
We all know the right thing to do, but most of these companies have the big names as the auditors, but yet they still keep different records. One set of records from the banks, one set of records for shareholders, and one set of records for the tax administrators. I think it's time that that be stopped.
Staff of the Federal Inland Revenue Service say they look forward to working with the new man at the helm of the organization's affairs.
Mr. Chairman, truly I have held forth. And at this moment, I am glad to be giving it up to someone who shares my own vision.
Gives a warm handshake and hug from his predecessor. He is hopeful that all he envisions for the Nigerian tax system will be achieved, and then the impact of falling oil prices on the country's income can be minimal. Ara Monijo, TVC News, Abuja.
We'll take a short break now. We have more business reports after the break. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. Stock markets across the world, including the U.S. and Hong Kong stock exchanges, are experiencing low trade. In Africa, the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed in the red as investors witnessed dropping share prices. Managing Director, Securities Africa, Afolabi Folayon, spoke to Ozelia on this development.
Foreign portfolio investors will usually flow their money into places of lower risk. Which means the emerging markets, frontier markets will have lower inflows of these funds. This will definitely have effects on the markets because the inflows from the foreign investors will be lower. Secondly, with the devaluation of currency, you expect that a lot of people will see the volatility of the market as a negative effect. There's the devaluation of currency in China. There's also the currency crisis in South Africa. So generally, people will, foreign portfolio investors especially, will have a negative view of emerging markets and as well as frontier markets.
He also spoke on the direct effect of this on the Nigerian capital market.
Foreign investors control more than 50% of the market. So once there's a apathy of foreign investors coming in, the effect is definitely low trades as well as negative trades. Again, the Standard & Poor's is saying that they expect a devaluation of the Nigerian currency. These investors will be wary of putting in their money at this point in time if there's an impending devaluation.
A chartered accountant and the Director of Finance, Continental Broadcasting Service, Kunle Adegboyega, also spoke to us earlier on the issue.
So many economies are slowing down. China is slowing down. It's not necessarily in the overall economy of China. And you know, these days, China sneezes, the world catches cold. The manufacturing sector of China is slowing down, and that says, and it's about 44% of the total GDP. So it affects imports, which small emerging markets being affected by, because they are the ones feeding in the raw materials and the inputs for the manufacturing sector in such a. So it's the quantum of the effect of the China slowdown that is making the rest of the world. Don't forget that most of the economies of both Europe and the Americas are already even in these doldrums.
The need for an increased women participation in real estate business has been advocated. This was a thrust of a training series that held at the U.S. Consulate in Lagos. Speakers urged women to break cultural barriers and get more involved in the business of property ownership and management. Participants were also encouraged to explore the several business opportunities that abound in the real estate sector.
Things has been male dominated, and that's because of the amount of money that is involved in any real estate transaction. It's one kind of business that it's actually, I mean, you need money, or at least that was the perception. But as I'm sure has come out in this training series, you can see that there are different things you can do. You can become more flexible in the market.
Don't see it as I just want to own a property or I want to own a house. See it as a business. And then when you have that kind of mindset, then you're more committed to putting down funds and committed to putting down money to doing it. It's not about having 50 million naira to be able to buy a plot of land or to be able to start buying a property. Being involved in the real estate business goes much more than owning a land or a building. You can start by being a player.
You can see real estate as a business in over 20 different areas. You can be a developer, you can be a building material supplier, you can be a real estate realtor or an agent. If you have the training, you can be a valuer, you can be an appraiser, you can be into landscaping. There are so many things you can do. Now that mortgage is coming, you can be into mortgage brokering.
Now, crude oil prices are yet to improve in the global market as many Asian factories are reportedly operating below their capacities. At the London market on Tuesday, the Brent trades lower at $43 per barrel, dropping in value by nearly more than 1 cent from Monday's quotation. For the OPEC basket crude, its price drops to $40 per barrel. Analysts are not expecting the revenues of OPEC countries to rise anytime soon. And that's it in business. I'm Oluyemisi Dada. Up next is sports. Stay with us.